of data dash challenge. In this day 2, we'll be ingesting our clean data into our MySQL. Here's the brief of day 2. Yesterday, you've done the cleaning by removing unnecessary data in a transaction data. And likewise, yesterday, we also talked about the importance of RFM analysis on key metrics like CAC, CLV, AOV, ROIs, and the likes. So we have as a basic understanding of what we are targeting, our target goal, our main goal on this analysis. So today, the clean data set of yesterday, we'll be ingesting it into our MySQL. As you can see, the mission of today is to load the CSV into our MySQL and build a foundational RFM base, as an RFM database, I mean. But before going deep dive in that place, let us have some background knowledge on a database. When we talk about database, a database think of it just like a place or a container in which you store several data in it. It's a container that consists of different type of data. And this data might just be all these flat files, like all the CSV files. It might be objects, it might be documents, it might even be pictures or videos. So far as we said, it's data. Data can be of any format. It might be text format, it might be picture format, it might be video format. So think of a database just like a container that store all those data in it, in which whenever you want to retrieve the data, you will just come into it and get your data back directly, as in directly, without any issue or any stress. However, for you to retrieve any data from a database, you have to interact with this particular database using some software. The software used to interact with database is called DBMS. Let me just clean this out over here. Database management system. That is, there are softwares that you use to interact with this database. And some of these RDBMS softwares include MySQL. We have Oracle. We also have SQL Server by Microsoft. And the likes, there are many like that you can think of. So all these different type of flavors of SQLs are database management system. They allow us to interact with our database over here. Those data that we've stored here, we can simply interact with it and retrieve the data back through some queries. And another thing that I would like us to know is that there are some basic operations that we do perform on a database. Part of them include we do create some record in our database. Likewise, we read from our database. That is, you retrieve a data. When you are retrieving a data that you stored in your database, you call it retrieving. That is, you are reading it. You are reading that particular data from your database. And another thing, you can also update this database. Take, for instance, your previous data has some new entry or has some new records. You can simply update it into this database. And likewise, finally, you can also delete some file or some entry in this database. So all these three parts and all these four operations are those popular operations that we do perform on database. They do call them CRUD or CRUD, anyhow you pronounce it. You create, you read, you update, and you delete from a database. So today, I'm very sure that every one of us here have installed MySQL. Is that correct, please? Please kindly unmute and let us interact, please.
Yes, sir. For me.
All right. Today we'll be using one of those RDBMS or one of those DBMS, that is database management system, called MySQL. MySQL is a flavor of a relational database. Before we dive deep, I would like to define some types of database, popular types of database that we have. We have relational database, and we have non-relational database or NoSQL, non-relational. When we're talking about relational database, that's where all these guys, that's where they come in place. MySQL, Oracle, SQL Server. Relational database, any database in which it is structured, and also it's also in row and column format, rows and column. Any 2D data file that you see that has rows and column, they are relational, they are structured, and that's what we are more concerned as an analyst. That's where we are more concerned with. So we are more concerned with a relational database system. Non-relational database, they are not structured. They can contain, let's say, documents as an oriented file. They can contain graph file. They can contain objects as an oriented file and the likes. However, for relational database, they only contain what? They only contain rows and column, that is table in this format, something like this. So I think that serves as the basic of what we'll be doing today. So let us now go back to the task for today and see what we can do. All right. The first thing here, as we made mention earlier on in our explanation of database and the likes, that we can create a table in a database, we can read, we can update, and we can delete. So the first task here is for us to create a table. Creating a table, for us to create a table, we have to firstly have a database. That's the first thing that we have to do. Have a database, then we create a table inside. As we illustrated earlier on here, that imagine this is our database itself. All these things inside, they are what? They are our data, our stored data, which can be a CSV format data, which can be an object data. But specifically here, since we are dealing with a relational database, all these files, this is the workflow we are following. Let me just draft that out. Let's have something like this. We are following this workflow. We are creating our database first. After creating the database, we'll create our table inside. We'll create some tables inside. Some of the tables that we will create today include the recency table and the frequency monetary table. We'll create that. Then afterward, we'll create our RFM joint table, as in we'll join them together. We'll join this recency and frequency table together. That will form the RFM base table. So basically, we are creating 3 tables. That is this, and this. So we'll be creating this 3 tables today. Then before diving deeper dive, there are some basic statements, basic clauses that we do use in MySQL. And take notes, I think someone asked the question the other time, that can they use another SQL flavor aside MySQL? Yeah, it's permissible. Let's take, for instance, you are more convenient with Postgres, you can use it, or SQL Server, you can use it, or Oracle, you can use it. And for those of us that are totally new, let us just follow along. We're using MySQL. Now, like this, if I ask you that what is MySQL, I assume that we can say something about it, that okay, it's a relational database, and a database is just like a container in which our data is being stored inside. And a relational database is any database that has rows and column. That any data that is being stored in it has what? Rows and column. And MySQL is what? It's a database management system. We use it to communicate with our database. We use it to retrieve data. We can also update our database using MySQL, as in the communication between MySQL and the database. We can update the data in there. We can also delete the data in there. We can also read the data in there. So all those things are those basic stuffs, as in are those basic knowledge that we have to, that is required of us to have. So as I'm saying that we have some, share you the query file. Let me see if I can share from here the query file. Let me just copy it over here and paste so that we can be on the same page. Is it okay? Chats. We can grab it up in the chats, as in the chatbots. So we'll be using some common queries in MySQL. Queries like select statements. We'll be using select. We'll be using from. We'll be using where for our condition. Then we'll be using order by. And finally, we'll be using some order by. So here is my MySQL workbench as an interface. So you can simply copy the code, as in the queries, from the chat box and paste it somewhere so that we can move together. So we use this create database to create a new database. As you can see from this, my left panel over here, over here like this, you can see that we only have the SYS as in database, which is the default database that comes with any MySQL. So yeah, so we have to create a new database. The database that we are creating is called Google Merchants Database. So let us simply run this. Let me press Control and Enter. As you can see down here, a database is created already. So if I refresh this schema parts, you can see that this is the database that we just created over here, Google Merchandise as in database. But this database, we've created it, but we've not switched to it. For us to switch to it, we'll use this statement, use this Google Merchandise database. That is, we want to be writing any query or any data that we want to be loading it inside this Google Merchandise database now. So that will be Control Enter. As you can see downward here, with what it has changed that, as we are now right in the Google Merchandise database. As you can see, it has highlighted it in a bold color. So afterward, let's create our table. As I said earlier on, that we'll be creating basically 3 tables: recency, frequency, and monetary table together, and finally the RFM based table as stated in the brief. All those as in queries are in our chat box. We can simply go through it. They are also the same with what is in here in our tax, as in tax brief. So let's continue, please. Okay. So we've created the database. Now let us create our table. The first line over here, this first line, this first line, drop table if exists. It means that if this particular table that we want to create now, the name of the table we are creating is staging transactions. That's the name. You can give it any name of your choice. If this exists in our database previously, drop it. But if not, persist it inside the database. That is, write it into the database. And as you can see, we just have, we add a new database. We don't have anything inside the table. Nothing, as in there's nothing inside this table over here. So now, create table. That's the statement we use to create table in any SQL flavor stuff. So create table, the name of the table we are creating here is staging table. That's the name of the table. So we have the visitor ID. Then we declare a data type for that. As you can see from our data sets, this data type is called variable character, VACHAR. That is, it can be mixture of what? It's mixture of alphabets and numbers together. Is that clear? It's mixture of alphabets and numbers together. As this 195 this, it's an ID. It's not a number. We can't call this 100 as in 19 million or 19 trillion. It's not a number. It's what? It's a user ID, but it's a variable. That's why we declare it as what? Variable character, varchar. Let me zoom it out more. As you can see here, if you count it, it has some numbers. So that varchar 50 means what? The variable character, please let us kindly mute our mic, please. That variable character, what it denotes, it means that the number, the count, when you count these numbers, that is the span, it's about 50. Quest transaction dates. The data type for this transaction date is date. We declare it as date. This is the feed or the column itself. Country also, we also declare it as what? Variable character. Then total revenue USD, we declare that one as decimal. 12 by 2, what does that mean? It means 12 digits before points, before the decimal points, and 12 digits after decimal. That is, let's say we say decimal should be 12 by 2. The maximum, let's say we have 3.34. The maximum number that you can have here before the decimal is 12. Why the maximum number we can have after the decimal is 2. That's what this decimal 12,2 means. So after that, let us run our data as let us query, control enter. As you can see, we created a table, and look, you find that nothing changed. But when you refresh, you discover that these tables has a little drop down menu over there. When you click on it, you can see the new table that we just created, that is staging transactions over here. That's the new table we just created over here. So we can view our table, how it looks like. Let's select it. Let's say select. We have nothing inside, but let's say select everything from the staging table. Let me copy that and paste it over here. So when you run this, control enter, we can see this is the new table we created. Visitor ID, transaction date, transaction ID, country, and total USD, which correlates with what is inside our clean data set. It is any feature that is not in the data set itself. Whenever, and you put it as in, you included it in your query. Let's say we have another, maybe let's say tax USD, somewhere around here. Whenever you want to ingest your data, the meaning of ingestion means what? You are inputting your data inside the table, right? Whenever you want to input it, it will throw error because there is a column that the table doesn't recognize. So all these features, all these feeds, we call them feeds, have to correlate. All these feed like transaction ID, transaction dates, have to correlate with what is inside your data. So let's move on with that. From that, so let's say, let me just clear this. Yeah. So the next thing now is to ingest that data set into the table that we've created. For those of us that were window users, there are several ways of ingesting data into MySQL, depending on the use case. But for this, our challenge, we'll be using the easiest method, as in the easiest method actually, which is the in file. We'll load our data inside the MySQL program data on our system. For window users, you can simply come to your we can simply come to our local disk over here and check mark this hidden item. As you can see, since this hidden is not program data, simply check mark on it. You'll find it there, as in here is it. Double tap on it, then come to MySQL. Double tap on that also. You see something like MySQL Server 8.0 and MySQL installer for Windows. This is what we have, this is what we are trying to do. double tap on this MySQL server, you see this uploads. Your clean data set that you've cleaned already, copy it from anywhere, as in any part that you've saved it, and paste it here. Exactly. You paste that clean data set in here under my program data. From program data, you locate your MySQL. From there, you locate your MySQL server. Then from there, you upload the data sets in there. And finally, you paste your data sets. Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I didn't really get it. Can you go over it again?
The data set itself, it's inside, it has been saved somewhere inside MySQL file that is on our system. You know, whenever you install any software, the program data or the program file will be saved somewhere in a folder on your system, right? On your machine, right? So we want to save that new data set that we just cleaned, our clean data set, inside that folder. So this is the step. Come to your, where is it? Come to your local disk over here. This is it. Double click. Come to view. This view. Click on this view tab. Check mark hidden items, because then come to this program data. Double click on it. Locate your MySQL folder. Double click on that also. Then MySQL server. Double click on it. You find this folder here, this directory uploads. Double click on that also, then paste your data in it. The name of the data is transactions 2017. It's a CSV file. So let's come back here. So this particular line, particular query, what is simply it's putting that particular transactions 2017 into our table that we've created already. So let's simply run that and see what we're off.
Please, I have a question. I want to know if we are using this query as it is, like this file paths now, is it going to be unique for each person, or as it is in your file, that's how we are going to use it? Are we supposed to copy our own individual file paths from our system to paste here? That's what I want to know.
So just double click on this part and copy it. Basically, it will be the same thing for every Windows user, because your administrator, from their program data, your MySQL. So this is the part itself. For any Windows user, it will be the same thing. But take note, instead of you using this this backslash over here, you replace it with a forward slash. That's what, as in MySQL recognize. You replace this with a forward slash. Exactly. So then afterward, the last part here will be the name in which you use to save your data. I saved mine with transactions 2017 underscore 2017. If you save yours with another name, it will bring that same name, as in you paste that same name here. Exactly. So then what this means, excuse me, this second line into table, it means that load this file, as in this CSV file, into this table that we've created already, transactions, as in staging transactions. And this type of file, it's a comma separated, as in the variable values file, a CSV file, right? So that's the meaning of this file terminated by comma. That is, each feed are being separated by by comma. Let's say the transactions, the visitor ID, the USD, the total USD, they are being separated by by commas. That's the meaning of this line that you are seeing here. Then they are also enclosed by quotation. Then line terminated by by /n. For that CSV file itself also, for each entry, each row, it ends with /n. That /n means going to the next page. That's okay. All this file, whenever you reach here, send another entry to the next page. Then also this, ignore the first line, as in ignore first line. We know that the first line here is the feature itself, that is the transaction ID, visitor ID, country, and the like. So we ignore them, as in we ignore that. Then we run it, as in we run our code, and we see that it has run perfectly. This is the total data sets or total rows in our data set, 6,351 thereabouts. So let me clear this. Oops. All right. So we can simply recheck our data sets and see if those data has been loaded. 3,000, about 6,351 is quite huge. So let me just as in limit it to, let's just only view the first, let's say the first 10, limit it to the first 10. So let me run this, control enter. Can we all see this, please? Can we all see this, please?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can see
Yes.
All right. All right. All right. So this is the first 10 entries in our data set. We just ingested our data. We ingested it from where it was before. Let me clear this part. We simply ingested it from where it was before into the table. We ingested it into our created table, and inside this created table, we've as in we add all these our visitor ID, transaction ID, country, blah blah blah, like that. So we've successfully inputs our data from where it was before, which is on our local system, into what our MySQL table. So that's what we just, as in that's the stage we just passed. So now, since we've done that, we can now continue with this remaining part of the analysis, like creating the recency table and the frequency table, then the remaining tables also. So now we are done with this. We've created the database, we've created the table, then we've ingested the data sets from where it was before, our CSV file, inside the table. Now we are here. Let us create as in the recency table. So for us to achieve that, let's see. So let me just scroll. Now we want to create the RFM recency table. Recency, by definition, as we said earlier on in our last class, is the last day or last date in which a customer visits our e-commerce website, our platform. That's the last day, whether a month ago, a week ago, yesterday, just a minute ago, or a seconds ago. That's as in the main stuff. So from staging transaction table, that is this table itself, select visitor ID. Date difference is another clause in MySQL that is used to know, as in we use it to know the difference between dates. This same time last year and this same time this year, what's the days, what are the, as in what's, how many days are in between? We can simply leverage on date difference as in statements in MySQL. So that's what this, as in this clause over here, means. Then want to our data sets, when you look through, when you check through the data, our data sets, you find out that our transaction, they span from January to August. We can simply look as in check through that. Let's say select everything from here, from the staging table, staging transactions. Want to check the transaction date itself. Let's say this distinct values for our transaction dates. Transactions, okay, transaction dates, something like this, right? So let us simply run this query and see what will have. Control enter. So let's scroll down. As you can see, these are data sets. Let me just as in zoom this out so that it will be more clear. It spanned from January, or let's arrange it in descending order. Where is it? Let's put it in descending order. Let's say order by transaction dates. Transaction dates in descending order. So control enter. All right, I think it's clear now. So when you look at this output of the query, you find out that the last transaction date was when it was in August, 1st of August. Our data set spanned from January. If you look through it, 1st of January 2017, 2nd of January, like that, till the 1st of August, right? 1st of August. Now we want to check the days difference. This analysis, we assume that we are doing it 1st of September. We want to launch out our email marketing campaign by the 1st of September. Then from our historical data set that we've gathered from January to August, all the transactions that we've made, all those visitors that made transaction with us, the numbers of goods and service, the numbers of product they bought from us, and the amount of the products, which is the revenue we generated from each customers. We gather all those historical data. Then we want to analyze it using RFM analysis and decide how to channel our email campaign to each customer segment. That's what we want to achieve. We assume that we are performing this particular analysis 1st of September 2017. That's the meaning of these dates here. The dates that you want to subtract from is this, and the date itself, that's the main dates, is this over here. So we are subtracting this from this. Maximum transaction day. Can somebody tell me the reason why we are using the maximum transaction day? Why can't we just use ordinary transaction day? Why can't we just subtract 1st of September from the transaction dates? Why are we picking the maximum transaction dates? Can anyone of us omit and
so the maximum transaction date is like the most recent date. Since it's recency we are trying to get.
Thank you so much. Another idea. I think someone also unmutes their mic.
Okay, let me try.
All right.
I think is maybe a particular date where like a particular date where so many things occur at the same time, like so many events on the same day.
Okay. You know, as I explained earlier on, that we are calculating what recency. That is, take for instance, I'm a customer of Amazon. I do buy products from Amazon, right? I bought a product last year December precisely. Then I left. Day before yesterday, I still came back on that same platform, on the Amazon platform, to still buy another goods or another product. If I'm to ask, what's the recent day? What recent day did I visited as an Amazon? You tell me the before yesterday, because that's the recent time I visited the website. You won't tell me last year December, as in December ending or mid-December. So, and that's what we want to create now. The recency, how as in for each customer, let me just draft this out so that it will be more clearer to us. Because let's see. All right. We are looking for the recency. That is the latest dates that a customer visited our website. Here we are using visitor, as in that's why we have the visitor ID. Take for instance, you have a visitor. Let's say visitor A, visitor B, visitor C. Another day, visitor A still visited our website. Visitor C still visited. Maybe visitor C visited about like 3 times. Let me clean this one. Just manage this. Oops. All right. Let's say this is the date. If visitor A visited our website, let's say today, is what ma? Let's just pick a random date. Let's say today is 10. Today is 19 actually. So 2025. And visitor B visited our website, let's say 3 of let's say 9 2017. Then visitor C visited our website, let's say 4 5 2016. Then visitor A again visited our website, let's say recently, let's say maybe 19 of this month. And visitor C that has previously visited our website in 2016 also come back, let's say last month, 21 of 6 25. Then visitor C again, let's say he also visited our website, let's say on 12 of this month. So here's the question now. We have basically 3 visitors, A, B, and C, right? What is the recency for visitor A in this our domain data sets? Can somebody answer that, please?
19th
19th,
July.
which is
Yes.
this right here. What about visitor B?
Visitor B is third. What's it?
Third. All right. What about visitor C?
September 2017.
What about visitor C?
Because C is on
Visitor C is
21st of
12.
June 2025.
What are we picking?
Because
We are
C
picking the
is
maximum dates that they visited us. As in, we are less list of concern with 2016, 2017 that they've done. You see that all these data sets are mostly like, let's say 2025, which is as in correspond with how the workflow, as in how the data sets goes. You see that you are picking the maximum dates that they visited. Is that clear, please? We are not choosing, let's take for instance for visitor A, we said 19. Even though 10th is still recent, but the maximum, the most recent one, let me put it in that way. The most recent day that they visited our website is what is on 19. That's why we pick the maximum date. That's why we use these words. This max here is just as in grading it to the most recent date. Is that clear, please? Hello?
Yes.
yes.
All right. So we are now subtracting
Yes,
the
yes.
day of analysis. We know we assume that we are doing this our analysis first of what? First of September, right? Of 2017. So this is the day we are doing the analysis, and this is the maximum day that they visited us. So if you subtract this date from this date, you have the numbers of days in between. Let's say, for instance, this one visited 19 of, let's say, August, there about 2017. If you subtract this 19 from 1, the days difference, you have as a day, like something, let me just write a domi day like that. Forget about these dates. My math is not that good. 45 days, take for instance. We'll just get the concept, right? We got the concept, right? Hello?
Yeah, please, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Go ahead with your question, please. Someone said he has a question.
You said you're going to subtract data. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Are we subtracting the month and the year? Or is only these things we are subtracting?
We are subtracting dates, the date of analysis from the last day, the most recent date in which the customer visit our website. When you use date difference, that's the work of date difference, as in clause in MySQL. It will return the days, the numbers of days.
I'm sorry.
Let me. Yeah.
What about the years at the back? The years at the back, assuming the data is 2016 and I want to analyze it 2017. Are we subtracting the years also?
It will also do the same thing. We are only concerned about the days, the numbers of days. Imagine, let us be clear. Let us be more clear on this, as in on this avenue. Let me just as in zoom this out a bit. All right. I'm directing this question to you particularly. Let's say I have a customer. Let's say we have 3 customers over here like this. This our first customer visited our website, let's say 14 days ago. This our second customer here visited our website 3 days ago. and this visited, let's say, 365 days or 300 a year ago, thereabouts. When you want to roll out an email marketing campaign using these 3 customers as a case study, which customer are you liable to class as into segments as your VIPs? When we say VIPs here, that is those ones that are what? That are paying more, as in they are more paying customer. But in terms of recency, we are just talking about recency alone here. Which customer are you more towards to value more compared to the others? Which customer,
B.
please?
B.
Because of what? Recency.
Yeah, recent.
Yeah, because this one that visited our website 365 days ago, there is a chance that he has even forgotten our brand. For us to come as in call this customer back, we have to do many, as in send many mails, many promos, many advertisements to just as in draw them back that we are still existing, come buy from us. And this guy will be, as in, if you are ranking them, that will be B, A, and C. Even though it has been 10 years back, as the person that's asking the question, the date difference, what will subtract them out? Does that answer your question, please? Hello?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Let's continue. Understand better. All right. So that's the date difference over here. The 1st of September from the maximum transaction date that our visitor made a transaction with us on our website. Then we alias that as what? Recency days. It will return it as this. So let me simply run this table and let's see what we have. Control enter. Does that run successfully? Yeah, as we can see below, date difference, it's run successfully. So let's see what it's in there so that we can visualize what we are saying. Let's just select everything, then we'll limit them. The table, you can see this is staging transaction, but when you refresh this, the recency table, as in the RFM recency, also has joined. So we can say select from the RFM recency. Let's just limit so that we can just have an overview. Let's say the first 5 row alone. Control enter. As you can see, here is it. This is the visitor ID here. Let me create this. This is the visitor ID here. The last day, the day difference between this 1st of September and our historical data sets and our historical data about this specific customer with 1958 something is 42 days. This customer visited our website 42 days ago. Likewise, this customer here with this ID also visited us 42 days ago, like that. Why this last customer here about 97 days ago? So when we are prioritizing our customers, definitely we'll give some more preferences to those ones 42 compared to 97, close to 100. So that's what this line, as in this query here, is doing. Is segregating them based on what? Based on dates. Based on this, that's what this recency query over here is doing. So we've achieved one of the tables that we are planning tonight. The other 2 tables, I won't spend much time on it because from this basic, we can see. Yeah.
Sorry, before you move forward,
proceeding back.
This
yeah.
2017-09-01, what does it represent?
It means 1st of September. Okay. What that 019-2017 means, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an assumed date that we are carrying out this campaign itself, our analysis itself.
Okay.
Yeah, you can simply put 20. Let me do something. Okay, I've created the table already, and let's just I'll later drop that table since we are just practicing. Let's say today is what? Today is 7. Let's say we are carrying out these data sets today specifically. But there will be some conflicts. I can truncate that table, but let me just drop it directly. Although it's not advisable, take note of that. You don't drop your production table. It's very costly. So let me just drop this table to just for the sake of just as an explanation. So we assume that we don't have recency table before. It's today that we want to analyze those historical data sets we've gathered from 2017. Take note of this recency day for this first guy over here, 1958, something like that. It's 42, just because we used 2017, 1st of September. Now we are using this as in 2025, right? Like somebody that is asking of year, this also as in satisfy your question. Let me run this, Control Enter. That has run successfully, as we can see below. So let me run this query also, Control Enter. Now check this guy back, this 1958. You can see the recent day now, 2,920 days between August of 2017 and 19 of 2025, about 2,000 days ago. Please, can we comprehend what's just happened now? For this, does this answer the question, please?
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Very
All right.
common.
So, but instead of us having this huge date, why can't we just as in pick a day that is more closer to that historical data set? So that's the reason why we're picking 2017. It's not maybe it's a constant, you can toggle it as you like. Just play around with it and see what you can achieve with it. So we have this is 01. Let's just as in drop the table back and continue to analysis. Let's drop this table over here. So let me create that back, Control Enter, then Control Enter again. So here we have our 42 days again. So that's what that is doing there actually. So now the next thing now was this thing. Okay.
Please, sorry, I'm confused. I want to ask a question.
Okay.
This
Continue.
RFM table, I don't know. I don't know how we come about it because I didn't see when we did another table apart from the transaction table that we created. How did you create this?
Here is it over here. Create table. Oh, sorry. Here is it. I think it's here is it over here. 32. 33. Create this query here. Create table RFM recency. That's what created the table. Then what will be inside? What are those data sets that will be inside the table? We alias it as what? As all this query over here. All right.
Oh, I've not. Oh, I
Is
didn't know
it
you
clear
can
now?
create a table like this. Yes. So I
Yeah.
don't know you can create a new table with alias.
So you've seen it today. Thank God that you've learned something on SQL today. I'm very happy for that. So that's how it goes. That's how that goes. You can create the table separately, then fill in this as in this particular stuff inside. And you can also directly do it directly like this to save space and to save as in, it's because we are running this locally. That's why we are just thinking that everything is just as in going on smoothly. If you are running this particular query, let's say on a cloud base, let's say maybe on BigQuery, any query you are running, it's maybe as any one of us maybe practice something on cloud on BigQuery before, as in some SQL, written some SQL query on BigQuery. Any? None, right? Whenever you are running a query on a cloud-based as in platform like Google BigQuery, that's their own as in, let's say their SQL, right? That's the SQL for running SQL queries, different SQL queries thereabouts. It costs time, and as the more your query runs, if you are not careful about maybe usage of join in your queries and the likes like that, all those as in clauses that do consume more time, if you are not careful about it, you consume more time to run, and the time is equivalent to what? To your money. As the query is taking more time, the more the expenses that you'll be paying for that query that is running on cloud. So you have to minimize it as low as possible, as lowest as possible. So that's what that is all about. So can we move on now? Are we all on the same page, please, before we move on to the next? We're almost done. Are we on the same page, please?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So I think all these ones we are just using this for explanation. So the next table now is the frequency monetary table. We are calculating them together. Frequency, as we said, how often did they buy something from our websites? is quite different from how recent they visited the website. You might visit a website, let's say, take for instance, where's my pad? Let's say you might visit a website 3 times. Let's say customer, okay, let's use another scenario for these guys over here. As we have them, let's say customer A, we have 3 customers here, A, B, and C. Customer A visited our website, let's say 14 days ago, but their buying habits, the frequency of buying habits is 3 times. Why customer B, he visited our website, let's say 4 days ago, and their habits of buying is just only 1. And why this customer C, they visited our website, let's say 10 days ago, but their frequency of as in buying habits is, let's say, about 20. Which customer will you prefer most? A question. Hello? Am I audible, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah.
Please,
Customer A. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Customer A, the last day that they visited your website was 14 days ago. But within that span of 14 days ago that they visited, what they've bought something, they've purchased a product. Let's say this one purchased distance, yeah. iPhone, you also purchased, let's say, what again? Let's say pad, as an iPad, or something just random. What again? Let's say, what are they buying? Let's say he bought another book also. These are those products within that 14 days that they visited your website that they bought 3. Then this guy over here, this customer B, they only visited 4 times, as in 4 days ago, I mean. But within that span of that 4 days that they visited, they just only bought what? One goose. The first day, maybe they just add to cart, but they later doubted that, these products, let me check another as an e-commerce platform, whether it's more lesser than that. We do compare and contrast. Yeah, we do compare and contrast. You cannot just go to Amazon and see something just you want to, okay, what about eBay? What about as in another platform, e-commerce platform, or as in you compare the price before going for one, right? So they only bought once. Then customer C, they visited 10 days ago. But within that 10 days ago, every day they are buying almost like two products from our website every day. That is the double of 10, right? Every day, each day, let's say they buy 2 products. The second day, 2 products. When you sum it within that 10 days, they've bought almost like 20 products from us. Why this customer here, over here, 4? Within that span of 4 days, they only bought once. Why this one, 14 days, he only bought 3? Within these 3 customers, which customer will you prefer most? A question.
A.
Customer
C.
A.
Somebody
C.
say, okay.
Customer C.
Somebody say customer C, somebody say customer A. So what's the reason of the person that said customer C? Can you prove your point, please? Why are you preferring customer C over customer A?
Because the person visited my site 10 days ago, and during his visit, he purchased a lot of things. Like a day, he purchased 5 goods per day, while sometimes he purchased 2. So definitely, I'll go for customer C.
What of as in some the other customer A? Why customer A?
Oh, I think I didn't see. I thought maybe he purchased more things more than the
Yeah,
others.
yeah. Customer, you mean customer A, that he purchased more things?
Yes.
Look at
Yes.
customer A over here. This 14 here is not the as
Oh,
in what he has purchased. It is the last day that he visited our website 14 days ago. But within that 14 days
Yes.
ago, he only purchased 3 items from us or 3 products from us, Shikena. Why this guy
Okay.
over here? He visited our website 10 days ago, but he has bought like 20 products. He has almost cleared as in
Okay.
all our
It's
carts.
now I understood. It's customer C.
Aha, thank you. You see, that's the advantage of this RFM. We never reach this side there, though we are just doing recency and frequency now. You can see, even though some customer they might visited our website maybe for some days ago, like this customer, see, we can simply even change it to let's say 20 days ago, still yet it still beats this customer A, despite the fact that it's 20 days ago. That's as in the recency is more than this, but the frequency, it's as in something that you have to look inward to, that somebody is coming to your website and is buying a goods every day, a product every day, compared to somebody that came 2 weeks but only bought 3. You still prefer customer C over customer A in this scenario, no matter how. Then now let us now come to the monetary aspect of a thing. Let me just as in clear this. Let's say these 3 customers again. You select your most preferred customer among the 3 now. Okay. Oh, let me clean all this. Let me just clean all this clean. Okay. Let's say this guy. This is the frequency 1. And let's say the total amount that customers B has spent when he came to board to buy our product is only, let's say, 50 naira. Just an instance. Then this guy over here, customer A, the total amount after 3 days, when we sum up this total of these 3 products that he has bought from us, is, let's say, 1k, 1,000 naira. Then this guy over here that is 10, 20. Let's increase this. Let's say this is like 4k, for instance. And this guy, this total 20, when we sum it up, is just summing total towards 500. Now, which customer will you prefer? A question.
Customer A.
Customer A.
Because even though 2 weeks ago, in money, and I like times how many massive times 4 of this, times 4 or times 8 of it, 4,000 naira and 500 naira.
Yes,
Can you see it? Multiply by 8 as in 8x. Even though this guy is coming every day, he's just coming every day, but the goods he's buying is not as in, maybe he's buying earpod or earpiece, or he's buying biscuits or something that is not that as in monetary wise is not that huge. Do you get it now? That's why you have to do the 3 together. If you just limit yourself to this R and F alone, you might mistakenly choose a customer that is not that good. You market it to him, as in you market your products, your email campaign to him, and he will turn your offer down. Just because you don't consider the monetary aspect of a thing, you have to also still consider this monetary aspects. So that's the analysis we are doing. How will you employ this in your workplace as a data analyst? How will you figure out all these things? For somebody to have high recency, as in very low recency, this must be low, as in with respect to this. And also have high, let me denote this one in a better way. Let's say this must be low as possible, and this must be high. And likewise, this monetary also has to be what? High. If you have something like this, any customer that is in this bracket, they are good customer, they are VIPs. You must not lose them. You have to find all means to retain them, because they are paying. Recency, that is the last day that they visited your website, is very low, very recent. In terms of purchasing goods from your website, is very high. That is, they are buying almost every day. The money that they're paying for that goods is also high. Definitely, they are good customer to be VIP. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
that's all what this analysis is all about. So let us just wrap it up and see what we'll have tonight. Okay. So the frequency monitoring, this is the website, as in this is the query for that. Frequency monitoring. Okay, where is this? Yeah, this is the guy over here. So what this query here is doing is that we are creating a table called frequency monitoring together. As we are analyzing it as all these as in all this query over here. From staging transaction, group it by visitor ID. That is, we don't want to have any repetition. As in every outcome, it must be unique for a visitor. That's what this group by statement is doing over there. And we all know that whenever we have a group by clause, there must be an aggregation function in our select statements. As we can see here, we see sum, we see counts. All right. For those of us deep dive in SQL, and for those of us that we are still as in catching up, there's no problem. When you come to the boot camp, as in to the 4 months boot camp, everything will be what's spelled out for you like this, as in more than this, ma. Spell out as in total, in details, how all this thing works. Take for instance, you want to read this query. How will you read it? You read it from this. This is the first priority. Then second priority, as in terms of the ranking, you read group by. Then afterward, you select. Select is just like you are printing in Python. That is display. From staging transaction table that we've created, group it by visitor ID. That is, only have a unique visitor in each row for me. Afterward, display this thing. What will it display? Display visitor ID. Counts the number of frequency of that visitors. Those visitors, I mean. Then the total revenue, sum it up. You can use sum here, you can use average here if you like, depending on how you want to present your detail to the stakeholder. Take for instance, you might say, okay, the average money that a particular customer have spent on this website is so amount, or the total money that they spent. It's just English and it's quite clear. The average sum, you can use average, any one of the two. So here you can simply replace it with average, or you can replace it with what? With sum. Anyone that you choose, it's good. And likewise, MySQL is not case sensitive, so you can put this whether capital letter, you can capitalize it or leave it like that. So let us run this and see what we have. Control Enter. All right, let's see the query. So as you can see below, we've run this, and let's refresh and see those tables that we've created. Now we see the frequency monitoring table. How does it look like? Let's view it. Let's say select. We're selecting everything there from this frequency monetary table. Control C, Control V. So let us just display the first 5 so that it won't take time. Then Control Enter. Now we can see, even though these ones are 1, let me take so that this frequency will show. Let's say the first 50. It's one first. Yeah, but let us put it, let's order by, let's order it by, order by is just like you are sorting it. Let's sort it by frequency in descending order. Enter. If you look at this customer here, the frequency is what is 30, and the monetary is what 20. It's in dollar, actually $2,000 plus 2.7 as in K does. And look at this customer over here. Aha, that's good. This is a good question. It's a nice enough question. Using this just as in first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This first 5 display. Which customer will you prefer? A question.
The second customer.
Okay.
The second customer. The second customer. Why
Yes,
can't you
sir.
go with this guy over here that just came as in this guy? I mean 30. He has purchased from you 30 times far.
Yeah,
I think it
not
depends on what
it's
the
different
business
now.
owners want.
It depends on what the business.
So it
That's
depends
another
on
thing.
monetary aspect,
Yes, depends on the agenda
and again
what
the
they want
What's
to
the
monetary
agenda
use.
here?
the
What's the
money
agenda
spent.
here? The agenda here is to
This
what?
is
To group. Okay, continue, please. You have the floor, please.
case for the monetary to gain more profit, I think.
Okay.
So I think
To
they'll go with
increase, you go with who now?
yes.
Which customer are you going with? The first customer here
I'll go
or
with
this?
the second one.
Everybody like money. So you are going with this. All right.
Yes.
So as we can see, we'll go with this. We prefer this because it's paying our bill. And if you if there's not if a company or if a business is not generating as high as high revenue as possible, if they're not meeting their targets, they are going down. If their runway is not that large, their ROI as in their revenue is not that large, what are they done? What's the essence of the business? The essence of you doing business is money. That's just the basic truth, or that's just the plain truth. So you go with this one first. So let's move on so that I think we are in the last part. Yeah. We've created like about 3 tables now, right? The staging transaction, that one we just as in that all the data sets are there. But basically we just created 2 tables, the recency and the frequency monetary table. We will need the recency here also. Instead of us just having the F and M, where's the R? That's where we want to join them together using this join statement. Is that clear? So from RFM, recency, that is the table, this is the table. We alias it as R. Join it with this table that we just finished as a frequency monetary table. We alias it as F. Where are we joining it? You can join it on, or you can join it using. But since both of them have visitor ID, we can simply just use using directly. And if you like it, you can say, okay, on visitor on R dots, this is what I'm saying, as we do it for those of us that are conversant with that, that's okay, join it on for the first table, right? R dot visitor ID, where it's equals to what? To F dot visitor ID, blah, 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 like that, something like that. Are we clear? But since they are common, you can simply just use using directly. We are not as in just only few stuff. So we can simply and display it like this: visitor ID from the recency table, the recency days from recency table, then the frequency from the frequency table, and the monetary from that. So control enter. As we can see, our query run in a better way. So let us display the last table, which is the base table itself. That we'll be starting our next analysis from this table itself tomorrow. Let's select everything from the base table, that is RFM base. That's the name of the table. So let's limit it to the first 10 entries. Control enter. So we can see it playing like this. Like this first guy over here, the recency is what 42 days ago, the frequency is 1, and the monetary is what? This is the amount he bought from us. This is where we'll be stopping tonight. Is there any question? Because I know that I've taken much of time, but I think it's worth it.
So I can't see your screen.
Sir, yes, sir.
All right. Okay, go ahead with your question.
Screen.
Okay, please, is my screen still visible?
Yes, it is.
All right. Can we simply ask our question so that we can round it up from here? For those of us that are yet to submit or are yet to finish our task, there will be a grace period. Early morning tomorrow, just like an early bird. Early bird eats the fresh worm. So I will release, I will reopen the link and put a deadline tomorrow. That will be among the announcement tomorrow. Just take note of that tomorrow. For anybody, I'll pass it also tonight in the group so that.
Good evening,
All right.
sir.
Evening, sir.
Okay. I have a question concerning what you take us yesterday. That's the 5% rule.
Okay.
Because over for some time now, I've been practicing self-learning, and what I know from other instructors, some go with 20% rule, some says 30%. So hearing from you also, 5%, that's for the blank cell before we can drop down.
You're talking about missing value, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes, missing value. So I want to be sure which one is the
which is which
correct range.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
because for my own tax today, I used 30%. And the reason why I used 30% was that if I should go with 5% for that tax column may be necessary to the analysis. So dropping that tax column will somehow affect the analysis in a way. So I go with 30% and using mean to fill in the blank cell. So I don't know if what I did was correct or.
Basically, there is no, as in, let's say, a one size fits all as in reference to that amount of missing value. You said you read the literature that is 30%. I said 5%. This 5% that I said, I gained that from a course I took on data camp some years ago, as I'm on data kind of a thing like that. It's a rule of thumb. But what I later discovered, even though I too for some, as in for on some text, you see 20%. What will determine this percentage is the amount of your data set itself. Imagine you only have like 100 entries, and you want to say, okay, the missing value that you will be using will be 20%. Most of your data sets are gone. That is 1/4 of your data sets is gone already. But let's say this 1,000, I have less than 100 or 1 million or 1 billion plus rows in my database, even though that's as an Excel can contain that one. But as in, let's say in a database, you using 20%, you see, okay, it's still it's still better, even though it's 1/4, but it's still reasonable. So the amount of data set also determine the percentage in which you choose. But mostly when you do your deep dive, is this 5% that they usually choose, because we don't want, if not for the condition, we don't want to delete any data sets or replace another data set with, as in fill it in with maybe the main, the median, or the mode. Because how sure are we? How many percentage sure are we? The only thing that we are just working towards to is just with respect to the statistical, as in some statistical stand that, okay, if a data set maybe is right skewed or left skewed, even though you fill it in, it will still remain that shape, as in it will still bear that shape where you fill it in, whether with the mean or the median thereabouts. But we don't want that situation. So I think you can read more on that, but I'm more convinced with this 5% actually. But it's not that it's the only one, because I too have seen something like 20% of a thing. But what I discovered in those patterns is depending on your data sets, the numbers of entries in your data sets. Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
All right,
secondly,
okay,
from today's stats,
yeah,
are these because I noticed there are more columns on our table.
more columns like
apart from the one.
Which column, please? Which column are you referring to?
I don't want to take our time. I would have loved to open it.
Okay.
But
You're
I
talking
know
about
there are more than,
okay, continue.
I know there are more than four columns.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I
like
want
country,
to,
right?
yes,
Like country, like
yes,
the transaction ID, right?
yes.
That's
So
where we start
if
from tomorrow.
okay,
We'll start as in, we'll create those because we want to know those area, those as an axis that they are buying. We have the VIPs, they are concentrated in that. Is it in the United States or in India? So that we can know whenever we are rolling out our campaign, we'll put more more efforts in those places. Tomorrow, this is just the basic. We are yet to even as a stick class them based on, let's say this person is VIP, this person is at risk. So we still work on XQL tomorrow. In tomorrow tax, all those ones will be as in the tax will be as in we'll be doing tomorrow. We segment this. We are yet to segment them. We just as in have the outline alone. This it's still useless, although useful to some extent, but not cutting it all through. So we still need some as in classifying it, segmenting it. We can segment it, let's say, to 5 categories or 3 categories, depending on how we want. Then afterward, we'll also as an attach that country column to it because it's very useful. Then from there, we'll create a view, MySQL view, instead of creating table. Then we'll use our connector to connect that with Power BI. We'll connect that view with Power BI, then we'll continue our analysis subsequently. So there's still more work on this actually. Is that clear, please?
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
And please, sir, what's the submission deadline for tomorrow? Because I'm going to church.
Same time. 2 p.m.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
Okay.
It was because of I think was it not Iliasu yesterday that said he had an exam stuff like that. That's why we gave that excuse. Hello, my questions. We're trying to import. I getting error that the row one is truncated. That's my CSV column has more columns than the table created. Yeah. There might. Can you just forward the screenshot to the group so that we discuss better in order not to take more people time? Because send me the screenshots to Lulokwe or Desami now. Is there any other question again before we call it a day? Thank you so much for all right. Thank you so much for attending this session. I know it takes time, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Very
Thank you
much.
very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.